So with the year 2020, the winter release schedule is packed to the brim with big names. We got Assassin's Creed, Cyberpunk, Demon's Souls, Spider-Man, and Yakuza all coming out within weeks of each other, meaning some of your wallets were shot execution style by the online shopping cart. But among those games was a little title named Bugsnax. Bugsnax isn't exactly a high-profile title. From just looking at it, you could tell it's niche, and not many people will be interested in it due to its childlike aesthetic. Whatever your reason for not being interested in the game, I'm here to tell you, play Bugsnax, you cowards. The game is currently available on PS5, PS4, and on PC if you could stomach the Epic Game Store, which I know gives certain gamers hives just by looking at it. For the low price of $25, Bugsnax respects your wallet, cause they know damn well it's taking a beating at the moment. But don't let the price fool you, there's enough content in here to keep you busy. So, to explain Bugsnax, your character lives in a pseudo-Muppet world where everyone are these cute little puppet things. I really don't know how to explain them. Anyways, you play the role of a reporter who is on his last legs and needs a good story or else they will be fired. Your only hope is to find the world-famous explorer, Elizabeth Megafig, who is announcing to the world her latest discovery of Bugsnax Island, which is inhabited by these unique creatures that I will not name because you already know it. These creatures are said to taste better than any food you can eat, and the island itself is a giant buffet. So with that, your character rushes off to Bugsnax Island to get interviews and write a story. Only problem is, when you reach the island, Elizabeth and her girlfriend Egabel have gone missing, and the inhabitants are scattered around the island. Now it is up to you to bring the community together and feed them some Bugsnax. Since Bugsnax are the focus of the game, you're given a huge variety of them. You've got your Strabbies, Bungers, Buddies, and your Scoopy Banoopies. And no, I did not make that up, that's actually their names, which they even repeatedly say like they're a bunch of Pokemon. Each of these snacks can be caught, but they all require different tools. Some require simple traps for them to walk into, while others will require you to trip them, causing them to actually get a concussion as you nab them in your net. For some added challenge, some of these damn things are on fire or frozen, so you either have to put out the fire or melt the ice before you can actually catch them. Once you got that down, you could start feeding the snacks to the residents, which will cause their limbs and eventually whole bodies to change into what they ate, which is totally fine and not sketchy in the slightest. I will be honest with you, it's not the most complex game in the world, but after playing through the game, I think that's actually the intention. The game has such a friendly and laid-back vibe to it where I think the devs wanted it to be simple so you could sit back and enjoy the game. In a release season where there are a ton of complex games coming out with RPG mechanics and in-depth systems, you can't help but get burnt out on all that after a while. In my opinion, it's very nice to sit back and enjoy a simple game to get a break from complex stuff when you need to. And Bugsnax fits that role perfectly. I spent 10 hours playing the game to completion, and the whole time I felt so relaxed because of the simple mechanics attached to it. It's nice to be able to explore a relatively small island because each region has a lot of attention put into it to make it unique from the others. You got areas such as beaches with aquatic Bugsnax lying around, deserts where the spicy snacks like to light stuff on fire, and even snowy mountaintops where the snacks are all frozen desserts. Each biome felt unique and didn't feel like a copy of the others because of their unique layouts and even choice of snacks that live within them. The best part to me is the fact that the island is small. This is my opinion, and you're totally free to disagree, but I hate large maps, and that's mainly due to large maps having a tendency to have a lot of nothing stuffed in them. Smaller maps such as Bugsnax Island are what I prefer because every area gets the same love and care as the others. And due to its size, it's easy to navigate, so you're not spending hours trying to reach the destination you want. Going back to the idea of limbs changing into what Bugsnax you ate is a small detail, but over time, I really enjoyed feeding the residents snacks to experiment with what looks I can give them. It's not a deep customization system, but it is certainly fun to mess around with to see what kind of monstrosities you could come up with. There's no currency in the game, so it's nice to have the Bugsnax you caught have an effect in some form or another, even if it's as something as minor as this. The soundtrack is also a big standout in this game. As I mentioned earlier, the game has this friendly, laid-back vibe, which is really due to the game's awesome soundtrack, which is done by composer Seth Parker. Think if lo-fi music and retro video game soundtracks made sweet love, and the soundtrack of Bugsnax is what popped out months later. The songs can be easily played in the background for any occasion and really mellow you out as you go about your business. Exploring the island with the soundtrack in the back was a great experience and does wonders for stress relief because I was preparing for my college finals while playing this game, which usually makes me want to have a mental breakdown. But thanks to the gameplay and the soundtrack, I only cried every other day of the month. Now, let's move on to what I personally like to focus on in games, which is the story. Bugsnax contains a very colorful cast of characters, all with different personalities. Some are endearing and really make you want to root for them. Some of them grow on you over time. Some of them don't shut the hell up. Some of them don't make any damn sense. Regardless, getting to know each one of these characters and what makes them tick was my favorite part of the game. Except for Shelda. I really don't like Shelda. I know some of you may go into the game with a sneaking suspicion that something dark is going on, because the trailers definitely hinted to something like that. So from this point on, I will warn you, we're going into spoiler territory. And yes, there are spoilers for Bugsnax, believe it or not. I'll leave a timestamp in the description, so you can skip the spoilers and go to my final thoughts on the game. With that said, let's begin. So let's answer the question, is there something dark going on in Bugsnax? And the answer is... yeah, actually there is. Although this twist does not happen till the last level of the game, so let's talk about the build up to it. Upon entering the island, you meet Filbo, who eventually explains to you that Elizabeth and Eggabell went missing, and ever since then, things have gone downhill, with all the residents going their separate ways. Filbo is active mayor of the island, and his story of dealing with circumstances you're not fit to handle really made him one of the most endearing characters in the game. Filbo knows he's out of his league, and he knows he's a screw-up, but he still tries to make everything right, because he cares about everyone on the island. That being said, I've only known Filbo for 10 hours, but if anything were to happen to him, I will kill myself and then everyone else. And yes, in that exact order. I won't go into details about all the residents, but each one of them handles different topics in their personal side quests, ranging from learning to accept the differences of your significant other, being outcasted from your friends due to your own actions, and my favorite storyline of the game where two characters, Chandlo and Snorpy, finally come out of the closet and pursue a relationship with each other. For a game you would assume was aimed towards kids, the writing handles each of these topics maturely, and nearly all of them end in a wholesome lesson that was an absolute joy to watch unfold. Now, back to the main story. As you gather each of the residents back to the town, you interview each one of them, which slowly pieces together what happened to Elizabeth and Eggabell. You eventually learn that Eggabell was dealing with self-confidence issues as she has not been performing up to her own standards. Elizabeth is supportive of her, but Eggabell has had enough and sets out to be better. Eventually, when Elizabeth heads to the snowy peaks of the mountains, Eggabell tags along. But, due to the earthquake, Elizabeth saves Eggabell at the cost of her own safety. When finding Eggabell on the mountain, she's grown much as a character, but she refuses to leave Elizabeth behind. Seeing your actions reunite the town, she realizes it's okay to accept help from others. And so you, Filbo, and Eggabell set off to open a secret door, where Elizabeth is possibly trapped in. Although, when you get this door open, you finally find out the truth of what is going on this island. After spending hours of searching, we finally find Elizabeth, but she has turned into a Bugsnax monstrosity. She explains we need to get off the island, because the Bugsnax are actually parasites, and their whole goal is to be eaten by other species so they can eventually assimilate them by turning them into more Bugsnax. Elizabeth found this out the hard way when she became trapped in here, and the Bugsnax forced themselves down her throat until she became this monstrosity. But out of sheer determination, Elizabeth was able to counter the assimilation process. I know this is a tangent, but John Carpenter, director of The Thing, is a huge gamer, and I think we need to tell him to stop being a coward and play this game just to see his reaction to the twist. Anyways, Elizabeth warns you that the entire island itself is actually just a Bugsnax, and now that their cover is blown, they'll tear apart the island to assimilate everyone on it. Elizabeth tells you to go and get everyone off the island while she holds back the Bugsnax. This is when Eggabell finally drops in to see what Elizabeth has become. Instead of being horrified, Eggabell tells Elizabeth not to give up and escape with them, but Elizabeth tells her that's not possible anymore because of her current form. Eggabell refuses to leave Liz behind, so she does the unthinkable and melds with Elizabeth's new body so they could hold off the island together. After a goodbye, the duo tosses you back to the town where you have to save each of the members, but through your hard work, this fractured community has come together and are taking on the Bugsnax side by side. The final showdown is fun, and if there's a certain type of Bugsnax you hate, you'll be happy to finally beat the crap out of them for all those times they lit you on fire or froze you. After saving everyone, you'll get on the ship to get out, but that's when the giant Bugsnax come to stop you. Just when it looks like you won't make it, Elizabeth and Eggabell storm the giant snack, giving you all just enough time to get away. As you leave the island, Liz and Egg give you one last goodbye as they stay back, sacrificing themselves to save everyone. Whew. Yeah, trust me, I know the signs were all there, but I wasn't expecting the story to go in this direction at all. There is a lot of hints throughout the game, but the actual twist is still a surprise, and seeing what becomes of Elizabeth is still shocking even if you know something was up. Even then, I wasn't expecting two characters to actually sacrifice themselves to save everyone. It's sad to know they're gone, but I love the idea of them doing it together on their own terms. With that being said, the story isn't a masterpiece of writing, but there's so much heart and love put into it where I was actually sad to say goodbye to this very lovable cast of characters, except for Sheldon. My final verdict of the game is, if you want something nice and simple, Bugsnax should be on your radar. The gameplay is easy to pick up, the snacks are a blast to collect and observe, and by the end of the game, you'll love this wonderful cast of characters. Except for Sheldon. If any of this interests you, then I suggest you stop being a coward and play Bugsnax. And if this doesn't interest you, well, thanks for taking the time to watch the video. This is the first in a series of reviews I want to make to give some love to games that aren't getting enough attention. And I just want to talk out of my ass about video games. I'm Chris from Genuine Chill. If you liked the video, you should like the video. As for the next video, I'm eyeballing either this game that looks like Devil May Cry and XCOM had a baby, or I'm finally going to geek out about how much I love Yakuza. Until then, I hope to see you next time.